And welcome to another episode of the Tracy Gold Show. And today we are going to be talking about aging and how we feel about ourselves, about our beauty, and what it is that we have to offer in the world. And today my guest is Teresa Goes Gray, or Therese Goes Gray. She's going to tell us how she pronounces her name because I'm wondering whether it's fancy or not. But either way, it's fantastic. So I'm going to have her join me. Teresa, there we go. Therese. And I'm sending you, Therese, I'm sending you a request. So just accept the request so that you can come through. Oh, hey, Deb. It's so wonderful to have you here.
Cheers.
Hey,
Hey,
Therese. How are you, girl?
I am so good. How are you?
I'm so well. It's so wonderful to have you here. It's just
Oh,
such a special experience.
thank you.
So
Thanks
first,
for having me.
let's just get it out of the way first and foremost. How do you pronounce your name?
It is Therese.
Okay, good. Because I didn't know if it was Therese or I kind
That
of got a
sounds
feeling it,
beautiful, though.
I was thinking it may be something fancy, and I didn't want to get it
That
wrong.
sounds beautiful.
So, Therese, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started with Instagram, how you started this whole amazing movement of women who are
Oh,
58 and plus and unfiltered.
thank you. I've always been obsessed with skincare, and I started when my mom was young. She would wear Avon, and I would get into her stuff, or sometimes the Avon would have little samplers, and I would use that. But it kept on going, and so I've been really passionate about skincare and taking care of of your skin.
Yeah.
And then I went gray, and honestly, once I already had my Instagram account. Actually, it was a personal account, and it morphed
Mm,
into more of a business account.
mm.
And I went gray, started showing my pictures on Instagram, and I just met this whole huge movement of Silver Sisters,
Yes.
and they embraced me. We engaged each other, and my Instagram kind of grew from that. And I just, I showed my progress. And then as I did more things on Instagram, I
Hmm.
noticed a lot of, because I follow many skincare companies, I noticed that they had younger women in their ads.
Yes.
And that would baffle me
For
because
for anti-aging ads, right?
exactly, exactly. And these were companies that I, purchased things from. I was, a customer of theirs. And it was frustrating. It was really frustrating because I don't want to see a 20 something, even a 30 something telling, representing us.
Yes.
And then I got passionate about that. It's like, no, you need to address if this is truly anti-aging or pro-aging, whatever you want to call it,
Mm.
you need to address the women that are truly buying your product.
And that
And
you're
honestly,
targeting,
right.
right,
And
Therese?
honestly,
Mm.
Tracy, to me, it's almost like a slap in the face when I see someone younger, you
Yes.
know, that promoting these products.
Mm.
So I'm very vocal about it, very vocal about it. And I've been blessed with some companies that acknowledge, the
Mm.
women my
Mm.
age, a little bit younger, a little bit older, but they acknowledge us.
Yes.
And I think that's all we want is to be acknowledged and to
Yeah.
be noticed. And we don't want to be forgotten. We're not, I use the term don't put us on a shelf.
Yes.
We have so much to offer. And strictly, I mean, if I'm being candid, we have the income to buy these things,
Exactly. I
right?
mean, do they not want to make money is my question. Like,
Exactly.
how has it been that they have focused all their attention on younger and just on younger women? Fantastic. I mean, I have no problem with women being younger. I don't think of myself as less than because or them better than me or me better than them, but
but I mean, it's not their target audience, and yet they're still trying to feed us that kind of garbage, right?
Yes, yes. And it is garbage. I mean, and I agree with you 100%. My daughter's in her 20s.
Mm.
There's a demographic for that. There's a skincare demographic for that. She is just learning about what to do. She looks beautiful. Her skin is
Yes.
gorgeous, you know, but she's not going to use something that I use for wrinkles around her face or her eyes, neck, you know. So they really do. And I do. I embrace the companies that are addressing it. It's
Mm.
happening. It's happening slowly, but there are companies that are addressing advertising for
Yeah.
us. And I really am passionate about it. I really am.
Therese, you know what I find interesting is in the many years, so I've been a personal stylist for 17 years, for over 17 years, and I've run my own fashion business. And one of the things that I thought was really fascinating as I started focusing on women over 40 is that as women, as we get older, one of the biggest fears that we seem to have is becoming invisible
Yes.
and irrelevant.
Yes.
And that's exactly what it's speaking to in a way. So it's saying, oh, well, we're going to make these products for you, but then we're going to push you advertising of women in 20s and 30s.
Yes.
And the reality is, I mean, I don't know about you, Therese, but I don't want to be a woman in my 20s. I'm actually okay with being a woman in my late 40s. And and I'm okay to say, I've grown as a person and as a woman, and I actually feel a lot more confident in my late 40s than I did in my 20s.
Yes. I agree with you, Tracy. I think that my confidence is probably at an all-time high. My
Mm.
tolerance is probably an all-time low. I mean,
Yes, I love that. We have the all-time high in confidence, so we gain that, and then our tolerance for a bunch of BS is at an all-time
it
low.
really is.
I
And
get that.
I'm not afraid to like call things out. And
Mm.
it really is. It's a beautiful thing. It's a freeing feeling. I say that about also going gray is,
Yes.
it's just it's it's a feeling of freedom.
Mm.
I can't say enough about it.
Yeah. So, Therese, tell me at what point in your life was there ever a turning point, a line that was crossed where you said, okay, this far and no further, and then you started to speak out and to do something about it?
Probably it was in my 50s. It was.
Mm.
I wish it would have been a little sooner,
Mm.
but it was definitely like in my early 50s. I've always been opinionated, but where I really got, truly passionate, to just stand my ground and say, look, you know, these things aren't acceptable. And
Mm.
I would say definitely my early 50s. I turned 50. It didn't bother me at all.
Mm.
I embraced it. I've never been one to not tell, my exact age. I'm
Mm-hmm.
proud of, being 58. And I think we're blessed. We're blessed now
Mm.
because we have the tools to look as good as we can for our age. I
Yes.
don't want to use the term younger, but we can look pretty darn fantastic for 58, your 60s, your 70s. I'm blown
Yes.
away. I really am blown away by just the women I see. And when they say their age, I'm like, no, you're not. No, you're not. But
And
it was
what
probably
is
my early
that?
50s.
What do you think it is? Why are we able to look so fantastic at 50, 60, 70, beyond?
I think that we have more knowledge about
Mm.
how to care for ourselves. And I think that I really believe, and I believe that the younger people are helping this as well, but I really do
Mm.
believe that the trend to eat cleaner, eat
Mm.
healthier, um, I applaud I'll say kids, but the kids in their 20s for they are worried about the environment
Yes.
and they worry about the, abuse of animals. And that
Yes.
kind of has spiraled where
Yes.
we all, it started with organic foods, and now it's like being, conscious of how these animals are treated, and is this really good for your body? And I
Yeah.
think that's really snowballed. So I do applaud them. My son and his fiance, they're in their late 20s, and they've taught me,
Yeah.
just, and I love it. I love it. So we all work together. We all work
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. Therese, I just want to, so on that point, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I am vegan. So I live a plant-based whole food lifestyle, and I was pescatarian for many years. And you know how people say, oh, well, I only eat a little bit of meat, or well, I ate a tiny bit of fish and a little bit of dairy. But I have to tell you that I was having hormonal issues in my, like, and I was just early 40s. So my homeopath was like, I'm not sure it's menopause yet. I'm not quite sure what's going on, and it was interesting that when I decided to switch over to plant-based diet and really focus on whole foods, which I had been doing a lot of anyway, but I just took it to that next level. I could not believe the difference in how I felt in my body, my energy levels. I used to get sick a lot. I used to get a lot of colds and a lot of like congestion and that kind of inflammation. I hardly ever get that anymore.
Wow.
It just makes a huge difference. And from a hormonal perspective, she had put me on a natural progesterone cream. I could go off of that. And it was expensive. The natural progesterone cream wasn't covered by my health insurance. And so, because it didn't have some code or something, of course, the synthetic stuff they'll pay for.
Right.
But
Exactly.
they wouldn't pay for the natural stuff. And I was able to go off of that and completely feel amazing. And so I think that there is more awareness around, and I do it for both reasons, for humanitarian reasons for animals, but I also do it from a standpoint of it is just, I feel so fantastic that there's no going back for me. And there's so many great alternatives now. There's vegan cheese, there's vegan yogurt, there's vegan. I mean, I definitely don't feel deprived. Far from it, actually.
And my daughter, she's on her way of going vegan.
Mm-hmm.
But now my son and his fiance, they are pescatarian. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Yeah,
And you know what? It's a process as well. We have to allow ourselves a process. It's not always just an overnight kind of thing.
Right.
So Therese, I'd love to speak to you about, I love your Instagram posts, and I love how you do the 58, this is unfiltered, and you speak about your rosacea, and I had to laugh. I absolutely loved the wine without a glass. That was the one I was like, I have got to have this woman on my show.
Oh, you are the
I
sweetest.
don't need a glass. Just drink it from the bottle.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm real.
You're real. And so what has drawn you to that? Because for many people, being that real is pretty scary, especially on social media, where you open yourself up for a lot of criticism and a lot of, let's be honest, some quite hateful comments. So what made you feel that you were ready to do that?
Okay, well, again, I'm being real. I spent many years not saying how I felt. And in the process of trying to make everyone happy, I hurt a lot of feelings because perhaps my words were contradictory. It wasn't good. And I've gotten to the point where, and I think a lot of it has to do with the people around me. I really am blessed with just a lot of support and love, my little inner circle. And so I feel like I can be me, and I am vocal because I wish someone when I was younger would have said it to me, would have been straight with me. And because it gives you a feeling of, I think, the more you lay out on the table, and especially on social media where it can be sugar coated at times. I think there's people out there that want to know, hey, you know what, man, I've got rosacea too. And my skin, flares up and I look like a tomato, or I struggle with when I say I struggle with my weight, I just like food, so.
I love it. I love the way I just
I
agreed.
do, but I love myself, and I want people
Mm,
out there to know you don't have to have that flat stomach. You don't have to, have a clear face. You're gonna get wrinkles. You've lived life,
yes.
and I think it's important if I can reach out to somebody and make someone feel better about themselves.
Mm,
That's that does it for me.
yeah.
That's I and that's what we need. We need to hear that. We don't need to feel bad about ourselves, because that is
Yes.
something that I do on social media. If I'm following someone who makes me feel inadequate or makes me feel bad about themselves,
Mm,
I hit the unfollow button. It's real
mm,
simple.
mm.
And I love following people that are, I love following anybody that just embraces themselves,
Mm,
and
mm.
I do put myself out there, and I have gotten comments. I've gotten into little squabbles a little bit,
Yeah.
you
I
know.
noticed one of the posts that you did around Unfiltered, you were dealing with some of the comments that had come and, oh, well, I wish you'd be honest about the work you've had done. And then you like, well, I haven't had work done. And then honest about your teeth. And like, well, if anybody knows me, I actually whiten my teeth on an ongoing basis. So I loved how you handled that.
Oh,
And
thank you.
do you find, Therese, that as women we are very tough with each other and very
Oh,
critical with each other?
absolutely.
Mm,
Absolutely.
mm,
And I do have to say this, Tracy, just real quick, because
yeah.
I'm so transparent. I have a real issue with, because of social media, and because of, I will use the Kardashians as an example. To
Mm,
me, they've altered their looks so much. And
mm,
I just think that's such a bad representation for younger women.
mm.
And so when I see women my age and I've been very open about lip fillers.
Yes,
I've been open about, I'm going to tell you if I've had something done, I'm going to tell you the truth.
yes,
And I know that there's an element of privacy, and we all have that, that's our right to reveal what we want to. But when you've had work and you're posting, and you have a lot of followers, and you are asked if you've had work and you deny it,
yes,
that's when mama's feathers get ruffled,
yeah,
because just, you
yeah.
know what, we're on social media. It's okay to say you've had Botox. It's okay to,
Mm,
but
mm.
that's my little dilemma with.
Yeah, Therese, for me, it's an interesting conversation because thus far, I'm 47 and I've chosen not to have any work done. But I don't judge people who do so. And in fact, on Friday, we're speaking to one of my favorite people, Dr. Margot Wishar, and we're talking about how to have, injectables that look natural. And
Okay.
the reason why I want to have her on is because if you want to do that, then learn how to do it safely. You
Yes,
know, but I
absolutely.
also believe that we need to be honest with each other. And
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. It's
Yeah.
okay if you want, even if you're going to go and have surgical procedures and you're going to go and have it fixed, or you're going to have, and you feel that you want to do this, it's going to make you feel better about yourself. That's fine. But then don't pretend that you haven't, that this is just good lifestyle.
Thank you. Yes,
That's what because I feel like what that does is that starts a cycle of shame.
it
Because
does.
then, well, I'm shameful. It's shameful to go and get Botox, or it's shameful to go and have even surgical procedures, or it's shameful to get fillers. Well, what if you want to do it? It's
Right.
your choice. You have a choice, but just then be responsible with what you do with that, with other women. Because I
Yes.
think that sometimes we as women are very harsh with one another, and and I think we need to support and uplift one another, not be harsh with one another, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean,
Um,
you said it perfectly. You said it perfectly, because I know there's a gal that I follow, and she's got over 100,000 followers, and
mm,
she had work done. She had a lower facelift, and
mm,
she documented it. Not that you
yeah.
have to, but I was proud of her. I
Mm,
was just, I felt great that she did this, because why not? You know,
Yes.
and honestly, she's a model. Her face, her body, that's her income.
Yeah.
And so yes, I agree with you 100%.
Mm,
I don't think that there's, you know, any shame, and you're right. When you start denying it, it is a vicious cycle. It goes into
mm,
an area of
mm,
shame.
mm,
And
mm,
yeah, and I'm not against it. Absolutely not. I think that, you know, I get a lot of I used to get, they used to call them IPLs, but they're now BBLs for my skin, for my rosacea, where they go in and they
mm.
zap the skin for the redness and broken blood vessels. And lip filler. I've had
Yeah.
Botox around the eyes. I haven't
Mm,
had it a lot, but I have.
mm, mm.
And, you know, why not share that?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
I think that I don't think it needs to be shameful. So, Therese, can you pinpoint a time in your life? I'm so interested in this thing of you saying that when you got to the point in your life where you realized it was better for you to be honest with people and to be real with people, that it actually hurt people more, the people that you love in your inner circle, to not be real and to not show up as your true self. Was there was there a specific experience that you had that was a turning point that you were like, okay, now I need, now I need to be honest. I need to start
right.
being more real.
Um, as far as, I mean, I've always been real with my family.
Mm,
Um, as far as I would say, like in the work environment with other women, because I've
mm,
always worked with women. I've worked a lot in the medical field, but it's always been like a large group of women.
yes.
And I just learned that I was better off, you know, especially because it was such a large group. They would talk amongst each other privately, which we all do.
Mm,
And I found out real fast, don't just be direct, and
yes.
you'll never, you know, they'll never have a chance to say, well, you told me this, or, you know, you told
Mm,
her that. And
mm.
it was just much better.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting because I think that it also comes with the level of confidence, right? So I
Yes.
think as we get older and we start saying, well, I'm feeling better, I'm feeling more grounded in who I am, I'm feeling
Hmm.
better about myself, then it allows me to be more real with who I am. I
Yes.
think when we're afraid to be who we are, that's when the smoke and mirrors happens, right?
Yep. Yep.
And and I think that's when the damage can happen too, and then the shame is in the shadows as opposed to being straightforward and being who you are. And that comes across, Therese, in all of your, in all of your communication on Instagram. It comes across in, this is who I am,
Yep.
and I want to show you who I am.
Oh,
And like
thank
you
you.
say, yeah, and I think like you say, if you have criticisms and you have people who try and make you feel bad about yourself, you can unfollow them. You don't have to give them the power, right?
Absolutely.
That's the incredible thing. So
And that,
sorry, I just would love to ask you another question just as we kind of come to the end is
oh, absolutely.
how do you, so as a woman in your late 50s, so you're like 10 years older than me. So as a woman in your late 50s, how has your aging changed your perception of beauty, of your own beauty?
Um, boy, that's a good question. I will say, you know, with aging, when I look at like the fine lines around, you know, when I smile, the lines around my eyes, the lines under my eyes, you could call them laugh lines, life lines.
Yes.
You know what? I do embrace that because that's
Mm,
me, and that's, you know, those are times that I showed joy, or, you know, times that I might have shown sorrow. And it's
mm,
funny, but that's my journey. It's written on my face.
mm,
And I'm proud of it. You know, I
mm,
really am. And
mm,
I, as far as like, and I will say this, the last time I had Botox was over a year ago. And
mm,
after I had it done, I told myself, I don't want to have this done anymore.
mm,
I like those lines, you know,
mm.
they're me. And I, boy, you caught me kind of speechless because I just, it's a matter of, self-love. I mean, I
Mm,
like who I am. I think
mm,
that's the easiest way to say it. And
mm,
I like how I'm aging. Am I, I'm not worried about aging.
mm.
I'm worried about aging where not my looks. I'm worried about my mobility,
Yes.
my health.
Mm,
So that's your answer. I'm not
mm,
worried about how my face is going to change. My
mm,
skin's going to change. I'm concerned about my health.
mm.
I want to be around as long as I can. And
Yes.
I am worried more about the health aspect
Mm,
and,
mm.
movement. And I want to age. I want to be that, 90-year-old where somebody says, oh my gosh, look how active they are.
Yes.
That's what I
Yeah.
want. And
Yeah.
so that's what's happened is as I get older, I'm not worried about the whole face thing. Am I going to take
Mm,
care of my skin? Absolutely.
yes.
I want to look as good as I can for my age, but
Mm,
I'm also going to embrace the process as well
mm.
to a certain,
I,
the best I can.
Yeah. And Therese, what I love about that is, and this is pulling the whole thing together, is that the more we as individual women can learn to love ourselves and accept who we are and actually appreciate ourselves for what we are and for all that we've been through and the women that we've become, the more it enables us to inspire other women to do the same. And that's really
Absolutely.
what you're doing on Instagram. You're sharing that more than just about okay, I've come to a place of that for myself, but you're actually sharing that and inspiring other women because, like you say, you wish you had had that
Yes,
from older women. And I
absolutely.
think that we are this kind of lost sandwich generation, right? Because we aren't our moms. Like we're younger, we're funkier, we're living life for longer, fuller for longer, doing things. We definitely haven't given up on ourselves, but we're also not our daughters
Right,
or
right,
even, sort of like in our 30s, we're not that. And so we're
right.
trying to find that space. And it seems like what's happened in this generation is that we've started to come out and be there for each other and to say, hey, together we can actually do this thing. Together we can let our hair go gray, or together we can talk about what work we have or have not done, or together
Exactly.
we can talk about the struggles that I have with my skin. And I think that's the important thing, is that the more we become clear and and grounded in ourselves, the more we can give that as a gift to others.
It's true. Tracy, together, we're stronger. We're
Mm,
stronger together. We really
mm,
are. And I think the more we encourage each other, embrace each other,
mm.
we're just going to be just a stronger unit. Just,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's really beautiful. Therese,
Well,
thank you so much for coming and speaking with us today. It's been so
you,
inspiring. And if
oh,
it
you're
was happy
welcome.
hour, I would say, let's get the bottles and drink. Or maybe even a Saturday, maybe
Exactly,
for
exactly.
lunchtime.
Oh, thank you for having me, Tracy.
Oh, it was absolutely fantastic, and I look forward to still getting your beauty tips and seeing all that you share on Instagram. Thank you so much for
Oh,
having us. So
thank
for
you.
those who are watching who may be new to the Tracy Gold Show, this is a lifestyle show for women over 30, 40, 50, 60, and beyond. Well, 40, 50, 60, but hey, we have ladies over 30s too. So you are more than welcome. And make sure to follow us, and then also hit that little bell, that little notification bell. It will notify you whenever I go live at 1 p.m. Tuesdays to Fridays. I have an amazing lineup this week, and tomorrow we're going to be talking about hair loss. So if you are struggling with hair loss or have struggled with hair loss, we have some phenomenal suggestions and solutions and fun we're going to have tomorrow at 1 p.m. So make sure to catch us then. Thanks so much, Therese. Thanks to everybody who watched live. And if anybody has questions, feel free to put them in the comments and I will get back to you. Thanks so much. Have a good day. Bye.